This happened about 5 years ago, and I haven't been to the Home Depot in question in a long time. Names have been changed for privacy. In high school, I was working at the local Home Depot as a head cashier. I kept track of all the active registers and made sure things ran smoothly. I held this position for quite some time, 1 to 2 years, and enjoyed it pretty well. Customers were nice, and my coworkers were mostly craftsmen and gardeners, all with interesting stories to share. Before we go further, let me explain something. I'm allergic to nearly every form of pollen. I mean every form. I take allergy medication, but even then, if I'm in close proximity to flowers for too long, 30 minutes, I will begin to break out in hives and throw up most of the time. So after about 3 months working in the winter, the spring season was upon us, the worst season for my allergies. One day, about 3 of our garden section cashiers called off sick. They are pretty reliable people, so I had no problem finding people to cover for them. As I come to my manager to inform them of the position changes, my manager looks at me and says, "You can handle the garden section on your own, can't you?" I inform my manager that I could cover it for at most 15 minutes before my allergies flare up and I'll have to leave. He states, "We don't have any documents on file that state you are not fit to work in the garden section, so unless you come to me with a doctor's note stating your allergies, I couldn't give less of a ref." I don't know who crap in his Cheerios that morning, but I complied, saying, "I want to be sure of what you are asking. You want me to work in a section which is hazardous to my health instead of placing equally capable employees in that section?" Did I stutter? He said, "Okay, sure," I said. I make my way down to the garden section, and immediately my eyes are stinging. I decide that I'm going to stick it out for my boss's sake, no matter how crappy my service becomes. The first 10 minutes are pretty uneventful, but then a customer asks me about the rash on my arms. The Home Depot does not care about allergies, I say, as I do not have official paperwork. This customer looks extremely concerned, asking for my manager's name. At this point, I was feeling nausea hit me. I throw up in the trash can at the register, turn back to smile as well as I could, and say I work under Bob. The customer reassures me that I will be okay and tells me I should head home. Turns out, this guy, Nick, was a higher up at the Home Depot's regional management and was my boss's boss. So, naturally, I comply with the chain of command and head to the locker room to pack up. As I'm packing, Bob comes in, fuming and cursing, telling me I have no right to leave, yet and that my shift is not over for another 5 hours. I simply say Nick told me to go home. Bob's face gets redder as he threatens to fire me, saying I was lying, and tells me to go back out. I comply, knowing that I will see Nick on my way out. I pass Nick, still in the orange apron, and he asks me where I'm going. I say that Bob told me to go back to work. Nick's expression goes from concerned to furious as he takes my apron from me and tells me I'll be paid for the full shift and to go home. I come into work the next day to see that Bob's nameplate has been removed from the office. I ask our hours rep what happened, and apparently, after I had left, Nick stormed Bob's office and proceeded to perform an audit on all of his past employee complaints. This guy had been throwing out complaints for the past 5 years. Needless to say, there was an opening for the store management position, and I was given a week's vacation for my troubles. My satisfaction was huge. My parents were abusive and neglectful my entire childhood from about 6 or 7 to 17, when they dropped me off in the States to attend college. They were also hyper-religious and insisted upon corporeal punishment so as to not spoil the child, according to some verse in Proverbs. Once I turned 14, I started resisting when my father would attempt to literally lay me over his lap and spank me. They decided I was too old for that type of punishment anymore. No crap. And my mother started slapping me in the face instead. She would hit me so hard my ear would actually ring, and I found out recently that I've only got 40% of hearing in my left ear because of it. Now for the malicious compliance part of things. I'd been given a list of biblical principles to follow, the most important one of course being to honor one's father and mother. They were thrilled when I decided to dig further into the Bible, except I was searching for and consequently found the verse from the Sermon on the Mount on which Jesus tells people to not resist evil, but to turn the other cheek if someone were to smite them in the face. I started turning my face and offering my mother my other cheek when she'd hit me, which she was quite a fan of because she could hit me extra times. My father eventually asked why I was doing that, and then they found out I had turned to their biblical principles to basically call my mother evil, according to their precious Jesus. They were upset about it, not because of the evil, but because it was apparently passive-aggressive resistance. I reminded them it was a biblical order and claimed I was trying to live more biblically. I kept doing it every time. It was small acts like that which, even though they hurt, got me through high school until I could leave and go to college. I completely cut off contact with them about 5 years ago, and it's been great. Hello again. After the reception of my last story, I thought I would share another from those days. Same industry, different employer. A group of about 8 of us who have worked on projects for this employer before and have a reasonable amount of experience in the industry generally are put on a small project with a new team leader, who we will call Alex, not her real name. And when I say new, Alex had just graduated that year and just gotten her professional certification to be eligible for this work at all less than 2 months prior. Alex had worked on only one project before. I know because Alex was placed by me on that project, so I could be a resource while she learned the ropes. A lot of people were upset. I was not, but I did understand their sentiment and did think several of them were significantly more qualified to be team leaders than Alex. I had zero desire to be a team leader. As we get to work on the project, people encounter various issues with our software or in interpreting the guidelines as they apply to this project. They tend to go to the most experienced people to ask for help with these things first. I tend not to ask for help much, as while I'm only third most experienced on the team at this point, I'm relatively tech savvy and have had occasion to learn the software more in depth than most and am more willing to make judgment calls without input when it comes to matters of interpretation. After a couple weeks, the most experienced people are no longer answering questions to help others, so they are coming to me. I was trying to keep my head down since I knew Alex was a sore issue for people, so I hadn't put it together yet. I get asked by Alex to come speak with the project manager, who says that I'm being too chatty, and can I keep the chatter to a minimum? Alex isn't saying anything, but has a certain look in her face. I put it together. I agree and go back to work. On break, the other two approach me and compare notes. Same thing happened to them. We figure Alex is upset and feels that people coming to us instead of her is undermining her position. We mutually agree to remain completely non-verbal when in the workspace in the future. All communication from us will be written. Alex was happy. No one was undermining her position by helping others. But Alex was also unhappy because no one would speak to her when she wanted to chat. I don't know who explicitly told the rest of the team, but one of them asked me if it was true. I confirmed. It spread to the other teams. Our project was wrapped up and we were given a new assignment. Our team was going to be joined with another for a larger project. Alex was going to be the team leader again. Half the team expressed that they did not feel comfortable working under Alex. I just stayed silent. Project manager said that was too bad, but it was her project. I then spoke up and said that I would not be available to work this project. So sorry, I will inform you when I'm available again. And walked out. The chorus of me too was substantially more than half the team. I was in the lobby with most of the others, on the phone with another employer checking to see if they had need for 14 or so contractors when Alex came down the elevator and blamed me for losing the team leader position and told everyone if they came back someone else would be assigned. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, a like and a comment would mean a lot in YouTube's world. Share with us if you would have done things differently, and don't forget to support the original authors with an upvote. Links are in the description. Peace out, and catch you tomorrow.